No audio? There is no audio? You never want these things to happen, but sometimes. Okay, I think it's okay. Maybe we can start without the video. I can show them the video at the stand if you want. There's no problem. Okay, so good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andrea Mora, and I'm the Business Development Director of ExMarketPlace. And ExMarketPlace is a Google Channel partner, which means basically a strategic partner for Google. We provide different services and product for monetization to publishers. So we help them to increase their monetization as well as their performance in terms of loyalty and in general performance of the website. So we take care not only of the monetization, but also the users' loyalty and the performance of the website. We also work with buyers to give them the greatest visibility on our network. We cover around 21 markets globally, and we have inventory more or less worldwide. Today, I will present you our user-first approach, which is basically the consequence of many analyses, tools, best practices, and common solutions we discovered in the last years working with many publishers. We start from the principle that mid and long-tail publishers are not always able to increase their brand value because they are taken from too many things, and they are not also able to innovate together with the landscape, which is evolving really fast. Moreover, because of all the new initiatives we have globally, all the new tools, all the new analysis, in most of the cases, it's really hard to have a great efficiency on a daily basis. For this reason, we collected all the common solutions we discovered, but we start from people because we want to keep always at center people. Too often we hear from things like mobile first, or what is needed for video, what is needed for the apps, but in general we think that people are the most important thing. So when we say mobile first, we are just looking at one face of the coin, so maybe it's not complete. But as we said, there is a huge complexity in the landscape, and I would like to give you an example, thanks to the ads.text, which is a great initiative that has been released in the last years. I think most of you are familiar with this initiative, but there are some bad aspects of this initiative. Basically, it's a very simple initiative where each publisher must declare its monetization products on a simple TXT file that must be added on the root domain. It's very simple. You can simply declare each contract as direct if you directly sign the contract with the monetization platform, or a seller if you are working with an intermediary company. But the mission is great because obviously it increases the transparency between sellers and buyers, because in any moment buyers can see what kind of channels publishers are using to sell inventory. It solved the problem of the JavaScript, where in the past publishers were receiving JavaScripts without any knowledge of what kind of solutions were inside. They were just using JavaScripts without any control on the monetization platforms. But now, the trading that was related to the JavaScript is the trading of the IDs, because too often we see things like this. We took just the declaration of one big publisher in Europe, and there were many other IDs. And if we consider only Google, we can see that there are 6 Google IDs all declared as a reseller. This is bad for the unicity of the impressions, because publishers are not able to control all channels, and in the end, buyers can have multiple impressions from different channels, so it's not good for publishers. It doesn't protect their inventory, it doesn't protect their user. So just to give you an example of the right approach, obviously we can consider the New York Times, where you can see that it's very easy in this way, it's under control. All the IDs are direct, because New York Times is obviously a big publisher, so they don't need any intermediary company. They can sign any contract directly. And talking about Google in general, in particular, you can see that they have only 2 Google IDs as direct. Probably one is from AdSense, that it's direct, and the second one is from AdExchange, that is the trading solution for programmatic. In this case, it's direct, but some publishers doesn't have the requirements to enable the AdExchange. For this reason, Google created channel partners to provide the AdExchange monetization, like ExMarketPlace. But again, as a Google channel partner, we have only one ID. There is no need for other IDs. So when it comes to the ads.txt declaration, publishers should take care of all the IDs they are going to add on the declaration. And this is just an example of how easy things can be complicated by the landscape, by all things we are following. But obviously, we have to spend time to do things properly. So it seems we might have a problem because of all these things, the analytics tools, the programmatic, the header bidding, all these kind of technology that are developing every day. We have to take care of the user experience. And we are trying to think how we can organize all these things, how we can simplify our work. To help publishers, Google released an interesting tool that is called News Consumer Insights. This tool is part of the Google News initiative. It's totally free. It's based on Data Studio. And this tool is capable to be connected to your analytics data. It will work on your analytics data, and it will convert all the numbers in an audience funnel. The audience funnel is basically the same concept of the conversion funnel on the e-commerce. But here, the concept is that we are selling information. And for this reason, we have to bring users from casual readers to brand lovers, and in the end, convert with the subscription. And this tool is great because we can see on, let's say, on a monthly basis, what's the change, what's the improvement according to the change we do on the website. If we add an ad unit, maybe we can lose some loyalty. If we push Reddit articles rather than paid links, we can have more page views, and in the long term, we will have a higher loyalty. Besides this, we have also a comparison for brand lovers and loyal readers in this case, but also for casual readers, together with the benchmark from Google. So Google collected 1,000 websites to create a benchmark. And for each metric, we can always compare our performance in the first column for desktop and tablet and mobile on the right, together with the benchmark and the best in class. So we can understand where we have margin to increase and to improve our performance, or where maybe we are missing something. In the same time, the News Consumer Insights provides many insights regarding the channels taken from analytics. And as you can see on the right here, we have the channels of the benchmark, where the email has the highest user value score. What is the user value score? It's a metric created by Google, considering number of page views, sessions, time on site, and so on. It's totally transparent. It is present on the playbook of the News Consumer Insights, so every publisher can adapt the formula to manage their metrics and understand what is important for them. So in this case, we can see that, for instance, the email has the highest user value score for this publisher, but the blue line is related to the volume. It's very low. So maybe if we have very loyal user, it's time to push the subscription to the newsletter, to have a returning user with the highest user value score. So this is a great tool provided by Google, and it's really important for our strategy. So let's see how it works. We simply created 3 simple steps. It's very basic. The first one is the publisher status analysis. The second one is the technical optimization, and the last one is the graphic layout review. The goal, again, is to increase loyalty, because we want to enforce, to increase our business value, working on the loyalty, working on people. And the tracker, the solution we can use is the news consumer insights, because obviously the concept of ad balance between monetization and, let's say, user experience is not new. But now, thanks to this tool, we can track improvements when we change something on the website. So let's start from the publisher status analysis. Basically, we need to understand who is our publisher, what kind of audience they have, what kind of solution they are using for the software. So we use the news consumer insights and analytics to run a quantitative and a qualitative analysis. When I say quantitative, I mean number of users, number of impressions, all generic numbers and metrics related to the users. When I say qualitative, I mean in-segment markets, interests, CTR, viewability, all KPIs that are really important for Google and buyers in general. On the other side, we can use the Google Lighthouse, that is an evolution, let's say a more sophisticated version of the page speed insight, to analyze all metrics of the software to detect problems that maybe can give incremental traffic or performance from the traffic sources. Lighthouse recently released also a new version that it's called AdSpeed Lighthouse, that it's purely for advertising, and it's really nice because it gives many insights regarding the speed of the ads. Once we have all this information, we are able to create a card of the publisher with all its numbers, all its aspects and problems, and we move to the technical optimization. Again, the technical optimization can be done in 2 steps, which is basically the first one is the product optimization, working with publisher. We can give them all the insights in our platform so they can independently take these insights and work on their hand on the issues to fix everything. Otherwise, they can ask us, they can ask ExMarketPlace to help them. Once we have, let's say, we started to work on these issues, that it's an ongoing process, we can move to the ad element optimization. This is, I'm not the tech guy, and this is the typical slide you don't want to explain, but it's pretty easy. When we say ad element optimization, we need to manage, to customize, to optimize the setup on our, let's say, regularly. And for this reason, we host all the ad elements, but it creates latency. Because typically, a client or a user, when access a page, is asking resources to the web server at the end. And it's very slow, it's a very slow process. For this reason, we created a caching system based on Varnish. It's a great solution to have multiple connections in real time, and it's able to increase the performance by hundreds time. But there is a problem. Varnish doesn't work on HTTPS. For this reason, we used another server that is called Nginx that simply encrypt and decrypt the message from HTTP to HTTPS when resources are going from client to Varnish. If Varnish already has the resources in memory, we don't need to do anything. The fast delivery is immediate. Otherwise, Varnish will ask to the web server the first time all resources, they will be cached and then delivered to the user. And from here on, it will be the fastest solution for monetization, to provide the rendering of the ads. In this way, we are able to load, let's say, all resources immediately. But what it means, resources? It means that with such complexity, with the complexity we have right now, we need an ad server in most of the cases. And as a Google channel partner, we suggest the Google AdManager. It was called DFP before, double click for publisher. Basically, we offer this solution in 2 different scenarios to give flexibility to our publishers. They can have the self-service solution where they can open their own account directly with Google. There are some requirements like an active AdSense account and admin access to give us the chance to optimize the setup of the ad server, and some training session to see what's all the best setups for the monetization. The benefits are in terms of transparency and autonomy, obviously, because publishers can do everything independently, and also they keep growing their relationship with Google. But it's very time-consuming, and for this reason, we offer also the managed scenario where basically we take care of everything. They don't need to do anything, and we have some special features that Google enables to channel partners, like the exchange bidding that we will see later on. Once we have the ad server ready, we obviously link the AdSense account, that it's a really good product for some special features. Typically, AdSense is limited for programmatic. It's not the best solution because there are no opportunities to run PMPs or direct deals. But there are some tools that we will see later on that are really great from AdSense. We use the MCM family from Google, that is a family of products where channel partners can get access to the third-party AdSense account to manage their account. So we don't provide the AdSense monetization. We optimize this platform thanks to the MCM program. Let's say MCM stands for Multiple Customer Management. So they are special products provided by Google. And recently, they announced the MCM for AdManager. So there will be also a new version of AdManager where channel partners can optimize the performance of third-party AdManager's account. And it's totally transparent again, because in any moment, publishers can access to their platform and they can see what kind of optimization we are doing. On top of this, obviously, we have the AdExchange. That is a too complex platform to be explained today. What is really important is to understand that AdExchange and DFP are merging, are becoming one unique platform called AdManager. And obviously, this solution is available on all environments, display, video, in-app, and game. And recently, let's say 2 days ago, Google completed the migration from the second prize to the first prize in auction. That is a huge change, because till the 10th of September, most of the traffic was still going on the second prize. That is basically, for those who are not familiar with AdWords, is a system that can give the chance to the winning buyer to pay only the second prize, which is a lower price in the end. So publishers were receiving lower CPMs on their hand. Now we have the first prize, where each buyer paid the bid, exactly the bid. So in this way, we should be able to have a higher performance from Google. And there will be in the next months just a 3% of traffic still on the second prize for benchmarking on Google's side to compare the performances. Besides to this huge change, we have obviously the programmatic framework that is the most important part of AdExchange for all the programmatic opportunities that it can provide, like the negotiation with direct brands, the opportunity to create private auctions, to sell packages of inventory at a reserved price. But when we have AdExchange and AdManager linked together, we have some special features. So one of these is surely the programmatic native. That is a great tool that has been enabled on all AdManager, but it's available only when you have AdExchange on AdManager. Basically, it is a native ad, but it's not a widget like other ad networks at the end of the article. It's a format that is available on all ad units. It's always in competition with standard banners, and it's really good because Google is bringing millions of clients. When you speak about native, when you talk about native with other ad networks, you can think about thousands of clients. Google is bringing millions of clients. So the performance in terms of revenue is very good. And it's very important for us when we want to increase loyalty, when we want to increase user experience. It's available on all environment. Again, we can have native video ads, native content ad, which is basically a text link, and also app install, beside to the standard banners. When we run a test, we discover that users are spending 25% more time in front of the ads, which means they are engaged. The branding is higher for these formats. So it's really important also for clients. In terms of CTR, it can be also up to 2 times higher. So it's really important also to increase the monetization on publisher side. Users are engaged from this format. The take rate at the beginning was pretty low because no one was bidding on this format, but now obviously the take rate is growing a lot. And the CPM is up to 50% higher, so it's really important also for the monetization. The second opportunity that we have when we link AdExchange with AdManager are the multi-sizes. That basically is a very simple function that is available also on other ad server, but thanks to a simple integration or declaration of sizes, we can reduce latencies and discrepancies because with one unique creative that is totally flexible, we can send requests for all sizes. And here we have also the fluid that is basically the size required for flexible native ad. And thanks to these sites, we can adapt all sorts of styling of the native on our site. It gives us the chance to have granular control on the sizes, because on AdExchange and AdManager, we can set minimum prices, and for bigger banners, maybe we want to set a higher price. It's multi-format again, because thanks to these sizes, we can have video ad, app install ad, native all together in a unified auction. And it brings the value of additional bids in the auction to increase the final revenues at the end of the day. On top of this, we have developed our own solution for dynamic pricing based on machine learning. So we see what's the winning CPM and the close CPM to increase the effective RPM, which basically means that 99% of monetization is not the right thing. We can have more revenues with less impressions on percentage. We are now developing the new version, let's say the second version, where we take care of the revenue per session. So basically, we track all the user experience and we split the revenues for each session. In this way, we are able to understand that maybe an additional page view can bring more revenues and more loyalty. But don't forget that the programmatic framework is obviously the most important side of the AdExchange, the most important part where we have to work. So don't forget the header bidding. Header bidding is a great solution that has seen a huge development in the last years. But what we have seen is that there are too many wrappers or technical solutions, and sometimes they can create latency. So for publishers, it's really hard to understand how to approach header bidding. There are some companies providing easy solutions, but basically the scripts behind are pretty complex. The troubleshooting is also really complex in some cases, and that's why we continue to suggest also the native, because if you think to the benefits of the native in terms of performance, you can see here that we have CTR that is much higher than standard banners, and the CPC provided by Google is really high. So sometimes if we lose time to develop, to troubleshoot, and to see what's the performance on all different platforms coming from header bidding, we lose the focus on other formats that are really good for users, for user experience and for loyalty. But obviously, header bidding is really good. That's why Google released another product that is called Exchange Bidding. Now it has been rebranded like on Open Bidding, that it's basically the same concept of the standard solution with pre-bid, let's say, but it's all done server to server. So Google is providing the fastest solution, working directly with all bidders. We don't have to do any coding of the site. We don't have to do any troubleshooting. We just need to enable the product, activate the different bidders, the different companies, and you can receive additional bids, additional campaigns for our ad spaces. This product is developing in this period because in May we did the same masterclass and some of them were not there. Some things were not active, so it's growing. It's on the front line, let's say, of the Google products. Right now, Media.net is just the first on the native, but we really look forward for many others because that format is really great. Moreover, another benefit is the traceability and billing, that it's all guaranteed by Google. Because when you work on classic header bidding, you have to go inside each platform, negotiate terms and conditions, and so on. But in this case, Google is providing everything. The same terms and conditions, the same platform to track and to report the performance. So right now we have seen the first two steps, the publisher status analysis, where we need to understand all aspects of our publisher and also all the technical optimization we can run in terms of software of the website and also all the monetization products we are using for the delivery of our campaigns and our monetization. Right now, I think this is the most important part. It's the one where we put our tail, let's say. It's the moment where we transform all things that are automated, all machines, on a user-friendly point of view. We need to adapt all machines to what we would like to offer to our users. So again, the first step is to activate the native, but it's really important, the customization, because too often we see also on the biggest publishers in Europe, only the standard native ad. They simply enable the format without doing any customization. So we lose the main part of the of this format. If you are able to customize the look and feel of the ads, we are able to increase the performance, the user experience, the loyalty from our publishers, and in the end, the value of our website. I'm Italian, so obviously I cannot take a foodie website. And here you can see that we have a foodie advertorial with all the same colors, fonts, look and feel of the website. So this is an ad that is totally, it has been customized totally to the look and feel of the website. And that's why users are spending more time to read, to understand what's the message coming from the buyer. And because of this, we can imagine that we are not able to create the best style at the first time, so we need to run some experiments. For this reason, Google released also a very simple tool where we can run A/B tests, maybe changing the position of the image or adding a call to action. And in any moment, we can see what's the difference in terms of CTR, RPM, and revenues. And we can simply click to choose the new style or the previous one. Moreover, we have the possibility to change the fill rate, the coverage on AdSense. And this is a great solution because Google applies its own technology to tell you that maybe if you have 78%, you don't lose money because you improve the user experience. Once the experiment is completed, Google can tell you if your session is longer, how many page views, incremental page views you have generated. And that's why you are generating the same revenues with less banners, because user experience is taking benefits from this approach. So it's really nice. Once we have completed the setup of all native and we have fine-tuned the ad balance, we can move on with the recirculation. Recirculation, again, is a concept that is explained inside of the News Consumer Insights. There is a playbook where all of these things are explained. And again, recirculation is basically the correlation of related articles. There are many tools in the landscape, many ad networks providing the same solution, but obviously we suggest the AdSense match content. This is one of the special features not available on AdExchange. That's why AdSense is important beside to the programmatic. Because match content is very flexible in terms of content settings. On most of the platforms, you cannot decide the freshness. You can simply ask them to correlate some articles. But on match content, you can decide to have only the latest news. If you think about sport website, maybe you don't want to correlate an article from 1 year old. Maybe you want only the latest news. And this way, you can optimize this aspect that is not always available when working with third-party companies. On the other side, we can even decide to block some URLs. We don't want to correlate specific pages, so we can set up a block list. Or, on the other side, we have the preferred content. If we have a paid article, a sponsored article, or maybe we want to push our services or our landing page where we are offering subscription to the newsletter or any service, we always want to correlate this article inside of the widget. So basically, we can control all content inside of our solution thanks to the match content. Again, we can activate the monetization, so we can have some paid links like the other solution. But again, Google is providing its clients all together, so the revenue per click is very high. With less click, we are able to generate very good performance in terms of monetization, but the value of this solution is obviously on the subsequent pages we can generate, because again, if we use such solution, we can track more pages, more loyalty in the long terms, as we can see on the lighthouse, and in the end, more value. It's very flexible also on the styling, because as you can see with some functionalities, we can simply change the look and feel to adapt the styling on our web pages. So this is also a really good solution. Recirculation, again, it's well explained on the News Consumer Insights on the playbook. The last step is the condensation. It's not so easy, but it's an important moment because we need to understand what kind of ad units or ad spaces we want to put beside to the content. We want to maintain the focus on the content because users are looking for our content, no matter if they are reading, looking at video, or buying something. If we want to push other messages beside to the main content, we need to define some fundamental ad units. And once we have defined these ad units, we can decide what kind of finalities, or let's say messages, we want to push beside to the content. So we can imagine a user reading the content. We have defined some ad units, and maybe we want to put in rotation inside of these ad units only some fundamental messages, like a content recommendation, maybe below the article. Or if we have very loyal user, we want to push the newsletter subscription. This is something that you can see every day on the New York Times. When you access the New York Times, you see every time an auto promo pushing the subscription to the newsletter, because they noted that the email channel is the one with the highest user value score. So they think that there is more value on the newsletter subscription rather than the direct monetization. Otherwise, if you have an e-commerce website, maybe you want to push your products rather than the programmatic advertising. We think that programmatic monetization is good as a background, always present, because we can change dynamically prices. And if we have a good deal, if we have a good price, then they will take the position. They will monetize the ad space. But it's really important for our goal, the loyalty and the user experience, to use also the one by one, let's say, to collapse the ad units. If we don't have enough price from the programmatic ecosystem, if we completed the promotion of our subscription, we don't need to push anything. Also, because sometimes we see that below the title or below the images, there are other related articles that it's a mess. You cannot push related articles just below the title. Users are trying to read the article. So in some cases, it's much better to collapse the ad units and move user forward along the page to have additional opportunities to monetize or push other services. Once we have completed also the definition of our messages, we want to define priorities and frequency caps. So we can decide what to put in rotation on each single ad unit. As I was saying, we don't need to put the related articles on top. Maybe for the bottom ad unit, we just want to have monetization for programmatic or the promotion of our newsletter if we have very loyal users. But if we don't have very loyal users, maybe we want to generate an additional page view. All of this can be managed inside of the AdManager to have the best performance in terms of number of page views, to increase loyalty. So all this change has a unique goal, that is to increase, to move users along the audience funnel, so as to enforce to have a stronger business in the long period. And this is basically all our approach that starts, as we have seen, from the publisher status analysis, the technical optimization that is an ongoing process. It never ends, because recently Google on the 3rd of September released a new library for all its functionalities. So again, we have to check the lighthouse, check similar tools to see if there are problems that must be fixed. Regarding the graphic layout review, we have seen that for our goal, the incremental loyalty, incremental number of page views, it's really important to take care of the native, because they bring very good performance with also less impressions. We don't need 99% of fill rate. And they can provide even better performance to clients in terms of branding and engagement. We can run also experiments to optimize all the solutions we provided to publishers, and we can fine-tune all aspects in terms of ad balance and monetization. We can improve the recirculation to understand if we are moving on the right direction, if we are on the right path or not. And obviously, we can also push the monetization through paid links inside of this widget, but it's very dangerous because we have to understand that the value of the recirculation is in its word. We need to recirculate users. So maybe if we push them directly out of the website, it's not the right approach. Even if we have a direct monetization, we might have more revenues in the subsequent pages. The news consumer insight starts from the question that each page is an opportunity to increase loyalty or generate revenues. And we have to understand where we need to put more efforts, more resources to the direct monetization or a subsequent page to increase the loyalty. And in the end, we have to adapt our condensation. This is something we do for our publisher. We help them to understand what's the best setup, because sometimes it's useless to push the subscription if we don't have loyal users. If we have only casual readers, they won't subscribe. So maybe it's better to push other messages, other finalities, to have something else. Before going, I would like to give you just a recap of all products and tools you can use, depending on the finalities you want to follow. Let's say the loyalty. we have seen that thanks to the Google survey, you can also increase the loyalty of your users, maybe asking them what they think about content, what they think about the ad speed. So we are trying to review our work. We can ask them, what do they think about the environment where you are surfing content? And they will feel important, they will feel confident, and they will return gladly on the website. But obviously, if we want to push our auto-promo, again, like the e-commerce or some paid services, we can track all of these thanks to AdManager analytics. So for each product, you can have few tools that will help you to track during the day what's the performance. These are just a few simple keynotes, a remind, let's say. We suggest to use a simple template to increase the usability, because maybe some messages can be postponed to the subsequent page. We don't need to put everything on the first page. We don't need to put 10 banners, email subscription, Reddit articles, auto promo, app promotion, all in the same page. We need to prioritize all of them. We need to keep focus on native, as we have seen, because it can beat the header bidding in terms of performance. Native ads are really good, not only for the widget below the page, but for all banners, all ad units should be native. In this way, we might think as a web page without standard banners, where all banners are all similar. But we can think to a new scenario where we have all ad units adapted to our website. Keep testing on the ad balance and the style of the native, because Google released the better ad standards together with many other companies. So now Google is stopping the monetization when a website doesn't have a great user experience. There are some limitations in terms of better ad standards. Again, keep focus on your priorities to define exactly the waterfall of your campaigns. We suggest also to keep improving the loyalty, keep tracking regularly on a monthly basis through the news consumer insights. And Google released also another tool for AMP that is really good, because you can compare in any moment what's the performance in terms of page speed, bounce rate, and many other metrics, what's the performance of AdSense comparing AMP and non-AMP. They are working on it. It's very basic, but it could be really useful. And in the end, obviously, we suggest to keep clean the ads.txt because it's a mess. Sometimes it's really bad to see the adoption rate growing so fast globally, but in terms of transparency and quality, we are still far from the ideal. So everybody are adopting the ads.txt, but the transparency is very bad. The declarations are not well done. And all companies are complaining because of the unicity of the impression. So it's very dangerous. And again, we are doing all of this for our people because we want to satisfy them so they can return gladly on our website. And maybe we can increase our business together with them in the long term. And now we can do this using also the news consumer insights. So it's not only a selling proposition. We have the tool to track improvements during the day. Thank you.